Again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
It is the time, your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS, where we are going to talk about the Broncos. It's going to be a little painful, but that's okay because we still love them. But I got Jared and David here. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
We're here.
All of us.
I mean,
all of us here.
it's we're talking Broncos. So
Jared
we got
was
that
not
going
late,
for us.
and he said he might be, so I'm proud of him.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
That's
Thank
fair.
Still making questionable headgear decisions, but that's argument for, this podcast, but it'll be brought up
you. It'll
again.
probably
But,
be
yeah,
every podcast.
yeah,
we
every
have,
podcast. But anyway, how's
We're on a normal schedule. That Thursday week was weird.
That's brutal.
Like watching Sunday, knowing we had already. I think it would have been easier if we won and we could just you know what I mean? We could be excited, oh, we already won our game. We're good. We don't need to worry about it. But knowing that we lost and we have another week to wait for another game is rough. So yeah.
Let's see. We got Marcus. How you doing, man? I like this comment here. Broncos country. Let's hide.
It's what I've been doing.
I like it.
It's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Let's see. Richie. How you doing, bud? Let's talk about ILB depth, Jared. On top of that, we have a QB who can read a field and throw a football. Right now, Russell Wilson is not that guy.
Yeah, David, let's talk about inside linebacker depth. How you feeling?
Not as good as I was at the start of the season, obviously, Jared, but here we are.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally.
It was not really a week where the inside linebacker depth was the main problem in the loss. I think. I think
we're talking more about right now. We're talking about injuries.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Singleton and Griffith are our top two linebacking starters. At the beginning of the year, you're looking at that and you're like, those are the guys that are going to be leading this defense.
Right. Yeah. And at times Singleton has played the best out of all of them, and Jewel included. Jewel had that really good first game back, but it's been real up or down for him since then.
No, it's been crazy. The I don't know what's the bigger issue, the injuries on defense or the offensive line. I know we got Brian Turner or Turner coming back, but I think our defense can take a couple hits there. Obviously, they're still playing well. But anything to the offenses, I think, is just a much bigger deal at this point.
Yeah, Garrett Bowles' broken leg. That's harsh. I think we all look at Calvin Anderson as a capable backup, but the ceiling is definitely lowered on that entire offensive line. It's not. We found out the floor is a lot lower than the ceiling was high. If that makes any sense.
It actually does.
Okay.
Oddly enough, it does.
Okay. All right.
Richie, this is fun. Hey, they suck more now than they did when they were healthier. So just saying, it's a bigger problem. Now, I don't know, guys. What do you think? Russell Wilson is used to playing behind a bad O-line. Do you think having a worse O-line is actually going to improve his play?
Something has to.
So, at this point, that's what I'm saying. Something has to.
Something
right?
has to, because now it looks like we're just going backwards, Russ. Like before, it was just tiny baby steps forward, and now it's regression. We're not seeing the open receivers. We're slow on the route when it's open. It's not a good acclimation to the offense so far.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to sit here and blame anybody, but well, you could probably throw Hackett in there as some of the play calls, but right now it's hard to sit here and blame anybody for the offensive woes other than Russell. Like, I hate to do it, and I know he's supposed to be the face of the franchise, but this guy's calling audibles on the line during the game. He's calling audibles on the line that turn out terrible, and then you're blaming Hackett for it. Like, you can't have it both ways. You either let the guy go out there and run his plays, or you let Hackett run his plays. But obviously, they're not on the same page. No. We were talking in our chat earlier, and Jason brings us up a good point. Like, you watch this offense, and it looks like you have 11 athletes out on the field, and on paper those athletes are good, but for some reason, and I'm going to take Ayla's word, they're not gelling, and they're not working together as a team. They're all doing an individual job as opposed to understanding what everybody else's job. And like, our entire offense has been the last play of the Raiders last night. Like, people running into each other for no reason because they don't understand what everyone else's assignment is and where to go with the ball. And it just seems like, yeah, that you could blame the head coach for, right? Because that's kind of his job, that culture piece, that culture of the offensive coordinator, and that's his job. But yeah, it's hard for me to not watch that and get really frustrated at how much we're paying. Not even just how much we're paying Russ, but the quarterback problems we've had from year in and year out. And I want to see it go forward. And I'm not giving up. I'm not going dark, and not say like, Russ, man, like you gotta step it up, dude. Yeah. Like, and you got to be on the same page with the rest of your offense. And honestly, you could blame the coach for that, but that's also the quarterback. Like, the quarterback is the leader of that offense, is supposed to get the people together and drive them down. And he's not doing it. He's not getting the offense together.
And I was going to actually ask you, because you have coaching experience. So you kind of answered, what I kind of wanted you to talk about there. And Drayton, I see your comments here. I'm going to pull them up in a second. I just don't want to move on too quickly here. But anything else from your experience as a coach there, Jared, that, because a lot of people, like you're right, are throwing the blame, if not the vast majority of the blame, at Hackett. And you're saying something different. So, I mean, what else do you see?
Now, I don't think in any situation is ever a single point of failure. This is a team game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people on the staff, and I think that's across the board. I wouldn't even say Gruden is the only reason for the issues that Vegas is having. Like, that's a blanket statement, but I don't think there's a single point of failure here. Now, I do think Hackett has a culture problem. You saw, and I think this is coming off of last night's game, because last night, if you watched the Kansas City Raiders game, that game was chippy. That game was exciting. People were flying. Like, people were flying to the ball. The people were blocking and getting in each other's face and standing over. Like, people were excited to play the game of football in that game. And we saw none of that on offense and defense. You saw even Kermit Mahomes was getting mad at people and yelling at people and saying, like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that drive, that motivation, that mentality, we just don't have it. And I think that is a coach issue. I think that is not saying go out there and get the 15-yard penalties, but if you get a 15-yard penalty like the dude on the Raiders did, come back from the opposite side of the field and make a tackle for loss like he did. Right? Yeah. Like, come out, if you're going to be that angry, come out and play that angry. And I was talking to somebody last night I was watching the game with him. Remember the days of Aqib Talib ripping off the chain? Yeah. Like, and again, I'm not saying like go play dirty. I'm not. But there's got to be some sort of fire, and that is 100% the coaches need to drive that fire. They need to understand, they need to give that fire and need to give them and cultivate that place of like, what are we doing here? Are we here to play a football game and get paid millions of dollars? Or are we here to win football games because we love playing the game?
Yep. Jason had a good point right along to what you're saying on last night's show. Maybe another extreme example, but think back to when the Broncos played the Patriots. I think it was maybe 2014. It was the game we were at Gillette Stadium. We got up, we had a huge lead, going into halftime, and then we ended up losing. That's the only reason I remember that game is because we ended up losing. But the punt returner muffed a punt and lost the football. And what did Coach
Kubiak?
What's his name? No, Patriots.
No. Oh, Belichick.
Belichick. Thank you.
It wasn't Kubiak.
What did Belichick do? The next day, that guy was gone. And it's an extreme example, but I think the point is what we're all seeing here is there's no accountability. There's no fire. You can sit there and say, I'm disappointed all you want, and I recognize these problems, but these problems keep popping up week in and week out. And so it makes you think what's being done different, because this wasn't a problem last year. We were one of the lowest penalized groups in the league last year. So why is it a problem now, and why is it a problem still through week 5?
There's a couple good comments here, and Richie, I'm on your page here. Right, I'm not a huge fan of right now throwing the blame on Hackett, other than this culture, this drive problem. However, and you're right, in some point it might be at some point if he doesn't correct and course correct, the long-term stuff is the coach. It's the short-term stuff that's the player. Right? You make those short-term adjustments to be better as a player over time, and you get there. So I agree with you, Richie. And then Jeff, on the opposite side, he was hired to call plays, and he's failing. Now, this is an interesting take, Jeff, because in my opinion, I still don't know who's calling plays. And if you watch that game against Indy, not only will you see the plays get brought in, but you'll see a couple adjustments on the line, and some of those times he's calling audibles is the play that everyone's getting mad at Hackett for calling, and you're kind of sitting on the sideline like, well, that was Russ's choice. Mm-hmm. And I don't, obviously we're not in the headset. This is one of those things like maybe 2035 we'll be able to hear what the quarterbacks are hearing from the coach, but we're not hearing what the options are, right? Most of the time you go in there with a zone man, a 2-zone, and a 2-man like play types, or like box. If you have a 4-man, 5-man box versus 7-man box, different play calls going into the huddle, so you get 2 or 3 different options. But I wouldn't sit here and say like, oh man, running that option with a loaded box like that is a terrible decision when he called it as an audible. So I don't know. I really think 99% of our problems, if Hackett and Russ could be on the same page, then we probably fix about 80% of our offensive woes. But right now they're not. Like, for example, okay, see, now you got me going. I'm sorry, guys. For example,
I was going, so it's your turn.
The final play that the incomplete pass, the wide open to KJ Hamler. If you watch the play, it is a play call, and they were arguing about it. Russ and the coach, and Coach Hackett, were arguing about it all the way up until he gets into the thing. So I still to this day don't know whose play call this was. But he gets into the huddle. He calls basically a rub play, right? You don't call it pick because that's illegal, but you call it a rub on the opposite side. You have 3 receivers, 2 receivers going to the out, and the outside receiver kind of doing a bubble to come in. And KJ Hamler ends up being the outside receiver coming in wide open because the rub worked. And Russ doesn't even look to the play side, to the play call side. He looks for what he thought was a one-on-one on the other side when you had a single high safety over it. And doesn't even look at the 3-on-3 on the outside. You look at the 1v2 on the inside because he trusts Cortland. So I don't know if that was Russ's call or if it was Hackett's call and Russ chose not to go with what the play call was. And either way, they're both at fault.
I have no notes.
No notes. Here, first off, David looks defeated.
Listen, I'm just here in the audience of Jared's soapbox rant, and I'm loving it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. By the way, did you see this? A little bit of lighthearted.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Giants on the?
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw it. I think everybody saw it.
Everybody saw it.
He was getting a good rub. That was the way. That's an effective way to run a rub route in this league.
That is an effective rub.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, how you doing? Glad to see you here. Should have kicked the field goal. Offense wasn't doing anything the whole game anyway. And I think you're talking about the one
The interception.
before the interception
Yeah.
at the end of the game there. One that should have been a run play on third down.
For sure.
Why are we, if anything, you're going to make them burn another timeout, and then you get the field goal going up 12-6, and you say, hey, go get a touchdown to win, which you haven't been able to do all game.
Well, and it just feels to me like the offense pressing. It just feels like either whether it's on Russ or on Hackett, whoever made that play call is like, this is where we break through. This is where we answer every question in one
That's
play.
a good point.
Like we can finish this now.
Do you think they're playing like a desperate team to the point where it's detrimental?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. I think you saw it on display.
That game for sure.
Yeah, it's several times in that Indianapolis game. Yeah, for sure. Like I think
They're
they
hungry for things to finally click that you start making even worse decisions.
Absolutely, yeah. And I do think, unfortunately, whether it's the outside chatter getting to them or that they're just inside their own heads about it at this point, like that's what's happening for sure.
I'll tell you this much: I don't have the stats in front of me. But I am very confident that we are the absolute worst red zone team in the NFL by far.
Oh, we don't have to look it up.
There's no way.
There's no. Yeah. It's like saying last season we're the worst special teams in the league. We didn't have to look it up. We just
by a lot.
Yeah, it was
like there's probably a huge gap between us and the next person. Like we can get to the red zone. Like we're probably middle of the road for times in the red zone.
Oh yeah,
but then like dead last in I think we scored
14?
Twice.
3 for 14, I think it's something like that.
Don't say things that hurt me.
We're not the worst when it comes to rushing touchdowns. We've had 2, and the Colts have only had 1. So hey, we're not the worst team when it comes to that. Just
Jesus, Kev,
throwing that out there. Okay. Positivity.
There's something to hang your visor on. That's great.
You know what? I do want to take a break, though. I do want to take a quick break from this sadness talk. And I don't know if you guys saw the news today. Demaryius Thomas is going to be posthumously inducted into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame next year. So just good news there, tip of the hat.
Absolutely. Well-deserved honor.
Well-deserved honors. Obviously, he's on the fast track to getting into the Ring of Fame. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Hall of Fame. But Ring of Fame, he'll be in there at the 5-year mark, if not sooner. So,
absolutely.
But anyway, so some good news there. Just a nice little smile to see that's happening, right? So I thought it was time. I wanted to wait to break that one in till, so we had something to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring us back to the top because right now we're deep down.
We're deep down.
All right. Well,
David is in such depression mode that he hasn't looked at the camera in the past 15 minutes.
I can't, you guys. I'm not even here. I want to bottom us out real quick as far as the sadness goes.
We got a
roller coaster of emotions right now.
I know. So what I want to do is I want to prelude it to an upswing. You've got Ronald Darby and Garrett Bowles injured reserve out for the year. That it's rough, but we knew this. We got some better news today in that we've got Justin Simmons, Greg Dulcich, and Michael Ojemudia coming off injured reserve, practicing this week, on track to play Monday night. What, if anything, obviously you know what Simmons brings to the team. To me, Ojemudia is the biggest addition in that group. You had a decent preseason, and outside corner depth outside of him at this point is Damari Mathis, and
who honestly didn't play terrible.
No, absolutely
he's
not.
He's playing okay. You see him making some pretty big plays, and I forget what game it was, but you saw him making some big third down need to stop him plays.
He's coming on well. My thing is just at that point, that's the whole depth at outside corner. So having Ojemudia in there, a guy who's played before, who's started, it's really valuable to me to have that depth.
Yeah, and I'm interested. I think right now our secondary is the strongest position group on our team right now.
I'm going to go ahead and
think
say
by far.
pass rush, but I think secondary is a close second. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
I mean, we'll go there. We'll go there in a minute.
We can.
But our secondary, right? If you're talking about Justin Simmons coming back, the fact that we haven't mentioned Caden Stearns being an issue in any way, shape, or form is a testament. Is a testament to Stearns. Yeah, Rich, here we go. Is a testament to what Stearns did, and he got a pick before PS2 did this year, and he got him. He got two of them.
He got two,
right? And so
PS2.
he was playing so lights out, like he's playing so well that we didn't even. I mean, we always miss Justin, right? We always miss Justin Simmons, but we didn't really even miss Simmons to the point where now I'm interested to see how they roll Stearns in to get him more time on the field. You put your athletes out there. He's one of the best athletes. And David, you're right. With the lack of inside linebacker depth, we might just be going dime all game. Like let's just go dime defense, first and 10. Let's go.
And Justin Simmons is one of the best tackling safeties in the league. He's one of the best run support free safeties in the league. So yeah,
pull
throw him
Kareem
out
Jackson
there.
And Caden. Pull Kareem Jackson and Caden Stearns up in the box. Keep Justin Simmons out there as a free, and then you still got time to be able to spread out. And that stops our issues with guarding. Well, maybe not so much guarding some tight ends, but it stops our issues with possibly closing on the running backs from the backfield, which we had a problem with when we played against Vegas.
I'll give you one back, Jared. Swap Simmons and Stearns. You bring Simmons up in the box. You put Stearns back at the free safety. You don't know what they're coming from. It's going to be, oh, man. See, and Ejiro Evero.
PJ Locke.
Yeah, PJ. Well, so I think, I don't know if he's coming back from the concussion protocol or not. But if he gets there, obviously he will be back at some point this season. Yeah, there's a lot of chess pieces for Ejiro Evero to play with. And I think he really knows how to maximize those players' talent. So, I'm glad we have a good coaching point, good coaching player mesh point to talk about on this team somewhere. Because, the defense didn't play so well against the Raiders, but they were back on track in a big way, I thought, against the Colts.
Yeah, but if you look at that Raiders game, who burned us the most in that Raiders game?
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. And it wasn't strictly running the ball, which I probably would have guessed it would have been. It was catching the ball out of the backfield. It was the ability to cover him out of the backfield, coming out of the backfield. And again, now he did the same thing to Kansas City last week, or yesterday. So they obviously have some sort of plan there. But I'm worried. I'm worried if we put PJ Locke or Kareem Jackson up there and cover basically as an outside linebacker, as a linebacker to be able to cover that if they need to, and you just man up there. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that, or Caden Stearns even.
Well, and here's what worries me. Transitioning maybe a little bit prematurely into Los Angeles Chargers week, is that I think the Broncos' biggest success formula on defense has been that when they bring extra pass rushers, they have been sound in coverage on the back end most of the time. And when they haven't been, it's because like with Josh Jacobs, it's because and we lost Kevin, but we'll probably get him back at some point.
We'll get him back, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was because Josh Jacobs was, like Rich says, to Rich's point, they were hammering the inside linebackers, or because when they were bringing that pressure, Derek Carr was able to dump it off to Josh Jacobs, and he was getting big yards after the catch. And, so it kind of concerns me about the Chargers just because Austin Eckler is really good at that. Now, Austin Eckler hasn't been really good at a lot of things this season so far. For that offense, it's not been an effective part of their offense so far, so I'm not entirely sure if that's a real danger for Denver, but it's a way that teams could expose this defense in the future, I think.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you have if we're going up against you, and you have two of the top wide receivers in the league, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But if you have one of the top tight ends and one of the top running backs, even a top 20 running back, I'm kind of worried. Right, and it shows the depth of our defense and where we prioritize our defense and what we see. But I think you're right. I think you see Evero make a few adjustments this week.
Yeah,
I think he makes a few adjustments with his lack of depth at linebacker. Singletary playing not terrible, and bringing him in, he's probably going to be playing every defensive snap this week with Jewel out. Man, these injuries are just piling, and it's so bad.
It's real.
So let's
awful.
talk about some other injuries. Let's go to the outside guys. Jeff. Yeah.
Yep.
ILB bros. ILB. Been calling for it for years.
That inside
David,
track.
how long have I been calling for it?
Oh, so many years. Many years.
So many years.
Yeah.
All the years.
All the years.
Jared, back when Kenneth Murray was in the draft, which was a bad call, but we all, I wanted him too. I can't sit back and say I didn't want him. Devin Bush, we all remember that.
Even before Kenneth Murray and Devin Bush that year. I think there was a year before that I was wanting an inside linebacker.
It's hard to. It's a long and storied tradition.
I can't tell you how many times I watched the red zone and watch one of those linebackers. I was like, man, we should get them in the first or second round. We should get them making a play and just like throwing my visor. Like just throwing the visor against the wall
can't we get
and then
that
picking
guy?
it up and dusting it off because it's precious.
No, you should leave it on the floor. It looks better down there, and maybe if you did,
Wrong.
Broncos would have better.
Wrong.
Since Al Wilson, Jeff says.
Wrong.
Yes. I've been asking for an inside linebacker.
Oof.
It's accurate.
All right. So let's go to injury reports real quick. Oh, let's go to the outside linebacker. Let's go to the edge rush, which you think is our strongest.
There was some Nick
depth.
Benito. There was some Nick Benito slander earlier in the chat, and
I saw it. I can pull it up.
Way up there. I want to go out on a limb for my man Nick Benito, who has been coming along a little slowly. Yeah, he was an end of second round pick, so the expectations for him, I think, should be. I mean, you got to do what you got to do in this league and make the best of your snaps. But I will also say that he's got 4 pressures on 21 pass rush snaps so far, which is a pressure rate of 19%, and that is a pretty decent pressure rate for a pro pass rusher in the NFL. So, Nick Benito's going to come along. I think we all knew that he had a limited range of moves coming in, and his specialty was speed rush, and I think he's shown that so far this season, and I don't think that's a terrible thing. I think it's been effective at times. I think he's seen spot duty, and you haven't really had to lean on him that much because your depth has been there pretty much most of the season. We'll see what Baron Browning's health is this upcoming week.
Yeah,
for sure. That's going to be a big key with Randy Gregory continuing to be out. But yeah, it's. I think Nick Benito's going to come along. It's just speed rush will only get you so far in the NFL, and it'll take a little while for him to develop the rest of his game.
Yeah, see, he had
very well said.
He only got 9 snaps versus San Francisco, 7 versus Vegas, and he obviously got the 29 snaps due to injury. This week, 17 of them pass rush. He had 4 quarterback hurries, 1 tackle, and 1 stop for a loss. So, not great when you're talking about 29 pass rush, but like. Obviously our defense, the guy was getting the ball out and our defense was doing well. So like on the defensive side of it, like you can't be mad at that game. I'd like to see him against, somebody that where the secondary, we need to get pressure a little bit more. They were getting the ball out and our defense was doing well enough. Our secondary was doing well enough, but
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to feel like let's give the jury's still out on Nick Benito. Let's say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And let's give Bradley Chubb a little love. At half a sack behind the league lead in sacks at 5.5. You hear a lot about guys like Micah Parsons, but Bradley Chubb is up there doing it just as well as anybody. And he had to do it last week without Randy Gregory, who has also been playing incredibly well and, commanding a lot of double teams, pulling them away. So now you've got Chubb commanding those double teams and creating opportunities for guys like Baron Browning, who played really well until he got injured against the Colts. So, yeah, I think we got to give them a little love. And, boy, let's see on Baron Browning. I hope he's not out for the long term. I don't think he went on injured reserve, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And something's got to give, guys. Like, we've had such terrible luck through 5 weeks now. Like, something's got to give. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. And this is a no BS show. This is my no BS take. I'm going to go all in on believing this is going to happen. Okay. I'm sure you guys have seen the posts that remind everybody that when in Manning's first year, we were 2-3. And after we lost and we went 2-3, the following game was a Monday Night Football game against the Chargers, in which we were down pretty bad in the first half, and then we came back in the second half and won that game. And that's how we went on. And I'm not going to say an 11-game winning spree, but that's where we're going to get our mojo. So I'm all in, guys. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think it's going to be history repeating itself. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you know what? Nope. Richie's sentiments exactly. Where's my Richie's sentiments exactly?
Yeah, have another one, Kev, because Kevin is obviously feeling no pain right now.
Something has got it. Okay, but do I really think that's going to happen? No. Would I love that to happen? Yes. Something's got to give, though. Like, at what point do these guys, turn it on? They're this frustrated. And I mean, if I'm Coach Hackett, the one message I'm saying this week is relax. You guys are pro players. You know how to play the game. Just go play your game. Something's got to happen.
Yeah, something's gotta. I would like it to be a good thing. That is the thing that's gotta, when it happens, because it has to happen. It happens, but I'm not entirely sure of that. I think something's gonna happen for sure, but
things are going to happen.
Yeah,
things are going to happen.
We'll see.
I'm with you, Kev. Like I love it, man. I love it. I want to see that fire. I hope people are pissed off after that Thursday game. The amount of injuries, the amount of things. I also hoped that people were pissed off after losing to the Raiders, and it didn't seem that was the case. So I'm hoping people are pissed off at these injuries. I hope somebody steps up and starts playing well because they get a chance. I hope that Russell Wilson realizes that he's in Broncos country. He's not in Seattle anymore where he can get away with that stuff because everybody loves him. He's a borrow right now until he proves to us that he can do it. And, he's a borrow for 4 years because just paid the shit for him. But
Well, but that's the thing is we have no loyalty to him as a fan base. It's not like we drafted him. It's not like he's been with us forever. We want him to succeed and we're all like rooting for him. But I think that's part of it is we have no loyalty to him.
We're not gonna not hold him accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know, guys. Yeah.
More Sierra? I don't know. Maybe less. I don't know.
Maybe less. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that. Like, all right, so I'm definitely not going to give up because there's no point in giving up. I don't know that I can get on board with a history repeating itself 11-game win streak.
Just do it.
Yeah, I don't. Wait a minute, Jared's gonna. Breaking news. Calculations coming in on the Broncos playoff odds.
It's the alley cat.
Jared, you know the question that the fans want to hear.
The answer is not mathematically eliminated yet.
God. There it is. There it is.
Yes.
We have that going for us.
Fantastic.
Can't give up because the Abathur says we're not mathematically eliminated yet.
Yes. Beautiful.
So
now, Kev, let's transition into Chargers week a little bit more realistically.
Let's.
Now you and I are, and let's. I want to screenshot that comment from Rich. We'll see. I think we're gonna see about that. I think there'll be.
I'm not even gonna pull it up because I don't want to jinx us.
No.
Oh wow, you did though. Okay,
Jared's doing it. Yeah. Okay.
Wasn't me.
Now I have receipts, or Rich will have receipts.
It's Rich's
one or the other. Either way, so Kevin, you and I play in fantasy this week, and you've got Mike Williams on your team, Chargers wide receiver. You are in the unenviable position of rooting against the Broncos defense to succeed against that player. How do you feel about that? What's your comment on that?
Here's my philosophy on fantasy football. I am okay with losing all of my games, which has been happening a lot this year, as long as the Broncos win.
Mm-hmm.
So Broncos take priority. Okay. If the Broncos win and Mike Williams has a great day, okay, great. I'm double happy. If Broncos lose, but I win my fantasy game because Mike Williams went off, I'm not very happy. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's an okay consolation, but the Broncos freaking lost. Right. So that's how I feel like. Look, I really hope I take you down, man, and I hope Williams has a good game, but not so good that we don't end up, losing. So, I need that win though, man. My team has both of them. Aaron Rodgers has thoroughly screwed me over this year. Thoroughly.
Yeah, that's no good. Can't have it. Can't have it. Can't have those 10-point quarterback days. I am too. It's entertaining for me. But and this week especially, I'd like it to continue. But we'll see. We'll see. You know, this is probably the way that Aaron Rodgers goes absolutely nuts and throws 6 touchdowns. And you know,
I'm waiting for it to happen.
Make sure you
man.
bench him, Kev.
Yeah, keep him on that bench.
No, I'm not. I have no one. My backup was Tua.
Oh,
I'm screwed.
oh.
Well, you can drop him.
Well, yeah, but there's no one really worthy of replacing with Rodgers right now.
Jared's like, yeah, give me drop Tua for those playoffs.
Yeah, drop him. He's only going to come back in a couple weeks. Like he's done for the season, pretty much.
6 weeks. There are some players. There are some teams that are going to be around in 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know about yours.
Yeah. I don't know about mine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be worth the. Yeah,
could be worth it.
Let's talk about this Chargers game a little bit.
Let's.
And not to take away from David and mine, amazing and much appreciated and much better podcast of the two, the pregame podcast.
Swish.
Orange Weekly. You can find it on any of your podcast listening, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Play.
All your platforms, baby.
All the platforms, baby. So without taking too much away from our amazing podcast, Kev, let's get your input on this because me and David will talk in depth about this on the podcast, and you guys should go follow that and subscribe.
Okay, so just my first overall thoughts. I think somebody said it was a post or something, but several weeks ago, the Broncos, maybe it was us, the Broncos defense is playing to what people thought the Chargers defense would be.
It was us.
Yeah. Okay, it was us.
We said
that was. I was like, I know that sounded super familiar. That was David that said that. So thank you, David.
I wasn't going to name names, but you did, and here we are.
Yeah.
And look, the Chargers are continuing to charger. You know, they get in leads and then they try to find ways to lose.
Oof. God, I wanted Cleveland to win that. So, and I'm not going to be rooting for Cleveland at basically any point in the season.
No.
Because man, I wanted them to hit that field goal at the end of that game just so Chargers could charger. I mean, they blew a lead against the Texans. They almost lost to the Browns. And this is why, in spite of every dangerous thing that the Chargers have going for them, and it's a lot, I still have – I'm still like inclined to call this a 50-50 game just because it's the Chargers, man.
The Chargers.
Like anything could happen.
Here's the thing. This is the perfect opportunity for the Broncos, and forgetting what I said earlier aside, like this is really the perfect opportunity for the Broncos to turn things around. You're on primetime TV. You've had 11 days off. Okay. You're at least a little bit more healthy than you were. You know, people are, rested and ready to go. Hopefully had some time to come up with some things the Chargers aren't ready for. All these things, right? Go out there and take advantage of the way the Chargers defense has been. They see that opportunity, and when the Chargers charger, which they will, just like we called it on the pregame show of the Raiders game, hey, they're going to do something stupid. And what they do, that onside kick, right? That we could have taken advantage of, but we didn't. So look, I see all the positives here. There's every reason to go out there and just play solid football. We don't need to win 52-3. Okay.
Shit, I'll take 23-10. Like I'll
exactly
23-22.
And play solid, smart, consistent football. Not going to get a touchdown on every drive. Got it. Okay. Limit the turnover, 0 turnovers, penalties, basically nil. It's all very reasonable things that we're asking for. We're not saying go out there and beat them 100-3, but so that I think that's where the frustration is, and not just on the fan side, but on the player side. Players know they're better than this. Okay, well, you've had time to get the frustration out of your system. Go out there and prove it.
Yeah. I mean, no notes once again. And they could too. They could is the most tantalizing thing. Is there's been glimpses, pops here and there, a play, kind of one play per game, sometimes 2 plays per game that make you go, wow, yeah, they really could have something with this offense if they do something there. But on the Chargers side of this coin, and Jared, I think this is one area that we can kind of breeze over in the pregame podcast. We'll probably talk about it, but we don't have to hammer on it. The injuries to the Chargers have been, just as bad as what the Broncos have been dealing with. They lost I mean, you could say arguably a better left tackle, but I don't know that there's a big argument that Rashawn Slater's not the better left tackle of him and Garrett Bowles right now. And maybe not right now, but ceiling wise, I think certainly Rashawn Slater was on his way to being an elite left tackle in this league. Now out for the season. You've got their star pass rusher, Nick Bosa. Joey Bosa? I get them confused. I think it's Joey Bosa. I think Nick plays for Nick plays for the 49ers. Yeah. So Joey Bosa's out. May miss both Broncos games. Will certainly miss tomorrow's game. You had J.C. Jackson been their star free agent cornerback signing. This season has been in and out with an ankle injury, kind of trying to come back from one. Thank you, Rich. So yeah, it's been difficult for them with injuries too, and they've got kind of another one of those quarterbacks who can make super freak kind of throws, and it's just not coming together for them. They've blown fewer leads than they've scored more points and managed to win more games than the Broncos this season, but in a lot of ways very similar as far as the trials they've faced this season.
Yeah. So let's see how they do against our defense, and I think that's where we're going to shine. Really quickly, Rich, dude, we don't even have an offense right now, much less a hurry up offense. Like
I get what he's saying though. Like we have a vet quarterback.
I know.
And if you want to let Russ cook, right?
Yeah,
Which,
no,
again,
I get it.
There might be a little bit of lack of confidence from what I've seen on him being able to call his own plays. There might be a little bit of that, but the hurry up offense, I haven't seen that. And honestly, it's such a huge piece to an offense if you can do a hurry up, because defenses don't know what to do. They can't get the call from the sideline. Obviously you have your set calls, but once you get into your set calls, you do the hurry up offense. They have to call that set call so you know what they're going to play. So it's kind of an advantage to the offense on that side. But I agree, Rich. For this upcoming game, I'm going to be all over the place. So bear with me through this roller coaster.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. All right. I'm glad.
Kick back here.
Yeah.
So bear with me, grab the popcorn, and come with me on this magical journey.
We're at 43:45 on the show runtime right now. I want Jared to try and get all the way to 50 minutes.
Okay, I can do this. Here's the start of here's the start, and I'm gonna audience interaction here. How many games, night games, until we are no longer on night games? One?
Yeah.
This is the last one.
God, I hope this is the last one.
So here we go.
We have a Sunday night against the Chiefs.
We do, but I think that's a flexible game, and I believe if things go on this trajectory, here's what I'm saying.
We've had of our first 5 games, I think we've had 2 normal games. I think we've had Thursday, Sunday, Monday night games all throughout the season, and another Sunday night game. We have another primetime game. So saying we need to do this in primetime, this team knows nothing other than these primetime games, which is kind of frustrating because now all of us go into work and be like, I saw everything. And you're like, oh, son of a bitch. Like, can we just, that Friday was miserable for all of Broncos country.
It was.
Yep.
It was.
Now, I also want to say that, the Chargers are not doing so hot, and they have the bet. I just talked about it earlier in the show. If we're going up against a team whose primary offense is passing, which is a lot of the AFC West, except for apparently the freaking Raiders, whose primary is trying to get it to their wide receivers, I think we have the advantage. I think we have the advantage here in Vegas. And talk to us more on the pregame podcast to hear about why the matchups are so important and where we think those matchups are going to land. Mm-hmm. But Spoiler alert, I think the Broncos have the advantage in the passing game. Now, it depends on whether or not they change up to give Austin Eckler a little bit more chance up the middle / get him into the screen, and what Evero does. That's going to be what you're looking at. Now, I just don't think Russ has it in him on primetime. And that's 100%. That's going to be my take. I don't think Russ has it in him anymore to do the primetime games to win a game when he needs to win a game. And it sucks because as Broncos fans, we've been sitting here for years since Manning left, asking for a quarterback to finish games, go out there and make the play, do the thing that we need you to do to be able to keep us in this game. And we haven't been able to do it. And we saw it on Thursday night. We had 2 chances, and both chances were ruined, and I hate it. And I'm hurt, and it's going to be a while so you can get back, all right? You have to apologize, and you have to win a game on a primetime game, and the rest of the week not so miserable for everybody because everybody saw Russell Wilson do the same thing he did in that Super Bowl, which is on 4th and 1, throw an interception, or 4th and 2, not even look at the wide open wide receiver. I'm still hurt, okay? Can we just...
I got you.
That Thursday game was frustrating. But
Jared's the opposite of dead inside right now. He's feeling too much.
I'm feeling too much.
He's all up in.
I think that's the phase before dead inside because it's the last burst.
There's a burnout.
Emotion,
there's a burnout.
And then it's like, and I'm done. And then you crash. Yeah.
Yep.
Joey, I'm sorry, man. It's not just going to happen. We are paying Russ basically $250 million. That is not going to be for him to sit on the sideline.
I forgot about this whole shoulder issue. Rich, man, see, okay. This whole shoulder issue, super swept under the rug, throwing shoulder issue to the point where you have to get a shot.
A partial tear, which I'm like, any kind of tear is painful. Like,
yeah, I think what's happening is it's being underplayed in the media because there is an assumption amongst the media that the shoulder injury is being used as an excuse for Russell Wilson's bad play.
Ooh.
And I don't know if there's any truth to that whatsoever.
I more believe the other side of it.
Okay.
I more believe that he actually has the injury. And the coaches are more, and the coaching and front office is more of the like, dude, we paid this dude how much money? Like, can you throw a football? Yes, I can throw a football. Okay, you know the offense better than this guy does.
And more than that,
go out there and play a freaking football game.
And to that point, I mean, along those lines, for sure. And like we were talking about earlier, I think they're desperate to win. And I think right now, whether it's right or wrong from an objective standpoint, I think it's probably still true that Russell Wilson gives you the best chance to win. That's what the coaching staff thinks. So that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like, I think Brett Rippon in individual game scenarios, not as a starter, I don't think he could start 2 games in a row and be successful. I think he could play individual like games, right? Play a game so that he can get healthy, get Russ back for a few games, and if he has to come in for a few snaps to get Russ off the field, then he could be a successful quarterback. I think that. But
I can't get on board with it. I can't get on board with playing 2 quarterbacks in a single game on purpose. Unless, like, if one of your quarterbacks is injured enough that you have to bring in the second quarterback at all, you bring in the second quarterback. That's, to me.
Look, if Brock Osweiler can lead us to as many wins as he brought us.
All right, but it's not 2015 anymore, Jared. And Brett Rippon's not Brock Osweiler, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know.
I will say this. I think Broncos country does like. I think there's a little bit of a level of like, play the backup. We're gonna be fine because of that season.
Yeah, there still is.
Yeah, and it's like that was a very rare.
See, but it's also been backed up by this toxic bad habit of the fact that playing the backup has not been that steep a drop off for us since then, and that's really just been because the quarterback play on a whole has been that bad.
And it's still there.
It's still there.
Hate it.
Hey, it's I think it's early to talk about this, man, but
oh no,
it's something to watch.
I don't think
for.
George Payton's made any really bad decisions.
No.
Well, the only thing is, new owners.
Russ Wilson,
they're
re-signing.
going to be like,
thing that.
you picked Hackett. Do you want to keep you
No,
around,
it's not
or
gonna be
do we want to go with our own
if
guy?
anything, if for some reason Russ can't turn around, honestly, by the end of this, so to get to George Payton level by the end of the season, Hackett's probably going to be the first to go because we've already paid Russ for 4 years. But and again, it's not whose fault is it; it's who can we get rid of and lose the least amount of money and try to blame it on. And we're talking way too early. We're 2-3. Like, we're talking way too early for this, and I'm getting dark, but we probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But eventually, what you're going to look at is what George Payton's going to be decided on is whether or not this Russ re-signing was the smartest idea. I think right now that's the only thing in question.
It is, and I guess that's going to be more of a question for pundits than, and you know, there are some in Broncos country who that's definitely on the radar for. I got to tell you guys right now, the narrative about money, $250 million, whatever, couldn't care less.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's not my money. And you know why else?
Right.
Because it's not going to, I don't think, be such a detriment to the salary cap that it's going to hold the Broncos back from a Super Bowl.
Right.
I think if there's really a way, if they're really one or two, if they get to a position with Russell Wilson where he's playing well enough to be 1 or 2 free agent signings away from a Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years when that contract really explodes, then, and you can't sign him because of Russell Wilson's contract, then I'll guess we'll have that discussion. But to me right now, all of that, those hypotheticals are so far in the future. It's like not. It's not on my radar, guys. It's not my money. It's not your money either.
Jared completely disagrees with you.
Go for it.
The conversation isn't whether or not like the Russell Wilson re-signing is going to bite us in the butt when he starts playing well. The conversation is that he's not playing well.
Mm-hmm. But that would be true no matter how much money he was making.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, but now you're stuck with the dude for 4 years or taking a huge salary cap hit because now we either have to find a new quarterback.
Yeah.
Or ride the crap out of this guy and just kind of hope for the next 4 years he gets better.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're five games in. There's a lot of time left to play. There's a lot of years. There's 17 games a season. I get it. I'm there. I'm with you guys. But again, going back to it, the conversation is he going to be under the microscope? It will only be after this. It'll be because of this signing. Or he's going to look like a hero because of this signing, because he signs the guy. He ends up getting better somehow. And you know, we make a couple free agent picks, or maybe not. Maybe we don't even need any free agent picks. We pick up some rookies. We get next year. We get Javonte Williams back and all these other things. And I don't know. Like there's so many up. There's so many up in the air things.
There's still a lot of ways for this to go right and wrong. There's still a lot of ways for it to go right and wrong.
Here's what I'll say about this, guys. You got to go back to what information they had at the time. You know, major deals were being done. You got to look at, you know, what Aaron Rodgers got, what Lamar Jackson is possibly going to get, or, you know, whatever. And who didn't think that Aaron Rodgers would come in, that Russell Wilson would come in here and play well? Like that was if you're talking about bets, okay, if we sign him now, we can sign him at a lower price. You know, one, it sounds like he's being very reasonable, but two, we can sign him at a lower price than risk it. And then all year we're going to have to deal with, you know, hey, are you still talking? Have you reached a deal yet? You're going to deal with that drama all year long. And then if he does have a really good season, or let's say right now, you know, he turns it around, things are really good, we'd end up paying him more, and people would be like, why didn't you sign him last year when it could have been cheaper? Now, so I think the time,
the thought process is
you get it
because of the buy-in.
Right, you get it because of the buy-in, and it was a for sure bet. Like, okay, I'm going to say the vast majority of people would have bet that Russell Wilson would play well here. Yes, there'd be a growing period, but not this bad for this long. So signing him at the time made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now, people are going to look back and say, this was a bad decision. This was a good decision. I don't care what it looks like down the road. At the time, that was a great decision. And period, the end. I think that's all that matters.
Now, let's also open the kimono on how the NFL really works a little bit here. Because you remember last year when that list of teams that Russell Wilson would be willing to be traded to, quote unquote, leaked, and Denver was on the list. And
Yeah.
and then, suddenly a year later, he's traded to Denver. Well, so those leaks happen for a reason. It's because the player or the agent wants the information out there. And when that happens and they have a conversation about who they want to go to, they're reaching out to these teams. It's not legal. It's not supposed to be happening, but either directly or indirectly through third parties, they're having conversations with representatives of these teams, and they're getting, confirmation that there's going to be a contract signed if they're on that trade list. Like if I'm going to come to you, you're going to sign an extension with me. And that's going to be part of the whole package from the get-go. And I have to believe a quarterback of Russell Wilson's stature had that negotiated with any of the teams he was willing to be traded to before it even happened.
Yeah, dear future NFL players, if you need an agent, look no further than, actually, I'm going to Google his name because I actually want to say his name, but Russell Wilson's agent did such a good job at during that offseason that he deserves a Nobel Prize, because I swear to you, like he drove up the price of Wilson. Not only did he drive up the price for the trade picks, for the picks in the draft, but he drove up the idea of, hey, when you get here, we guarantee that we'll get you a 4-year contract before season start. I know that's part of the contract. I know that was part of the negotiation. Yeah. Not only will Seattle get what they want, but you're going to get what you want because we're going to guarantee that 4-year. Now, again, a lot of this is hypothetical. In the long run, we'll find out, I guess, what the situation is. I'd like to hope, and again, we're getting towards the end, and I've been negative this whole time, and maybe it's 1 or 2 drinks too many. I'm starting to get like, okay, let's start talking about like the future. I want to be optimistic again. We have a lot of football to play, not just this year, but and for the next couple of years. I think what's hurting me right now is the injuries. I think losing Javonte. I think losing Garrett Bowles. I think losing,
Darby, Gregory.
Gregory, losing Gregory.
We've been without Judy for a couple of games. We've had no Patrick at all.
Tim Patrick on the IR. Like our injury bug is hurting.
I bet.
Do you bet?
That's where I'm at.
Do you bet, Kev?
Oh, I do. Thanks for asking. And let me tell you about it, because I am dying to tell you about it. Guys, NFL action is in full swing at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins. That includes the Broncos, who will win more games this year. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Guys, you can check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everybody can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. You can look at any of the matchups going on, pick your favorite games, and follow those, the game rules and everything. Look, we're talking about the Broncos Chargers. Lots on the line there. So it'd be a very interesting game for you to pick, who you think is going to win that one, and use those parlays. To make things even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per game day all season long. And here's how you get in on this action, guys. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. Again, that's promo code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
I love this. We need to start our own TPPN Orange Weekly DraftKings, because Rich has got an over-under on how many times Jared talks about inside linebackers.
We can definitely have a bet they have a bet for every pitch in the MLB playoffs, guys. We can get a bet for Jared.
We can get a bet for Sombrero during the Charger Broncos. However, I just can't see it. Like, that's the whole point. It's like I gotta not be able to see it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
we'll get ready to run it.
All right, fellas, it's already that time. I don't know how this happened, but we've all been ranting so much that it's time for some closing thoughts.
There's been a lot of rants this episode.
Yeah.
Well, really quickly before we get to closing thoughts, everyone, here's all the information from where you can find us and all of our other content. Look, we got a ton for you guys. Podcasts, pregame and postgame, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Monday nights, Tuesday night, this is our flagship show. And then 2 shows on game days as well. So make sure you check us out for all of that. Also, make sure you visit us on our other socials, to include our website, which has some really awesome articles from David, so you can read some of his blog posts there.
Coming back this week too, guys. We took a hiatus on the short week because David had too much.
It's a short
to do.
week.
But
it's a short week.
we're coming back with a view from Section 506 this week. We're gonna have some thoughts.
Some thoughts. Anyway, so lots of stuff, guys. Doesn't matter what the Broncos do, how they play. We're gonna be here. Spend 7 years, and we're gonna be here at least another 7 years, and so we'll go from there.
It's been 84 years.
Yeah, well, when we get to like 10 years, we'll say we'll do another 10, and then 15, we'll do another 15, and yeah. So,
God, if we're doing this in 15 years, I'm quitting. That's it. I'm 15 years and out, baby. I've got to
You're
make.
Fired. I'm firing him. I'm firing him.
So it's coming down to this: the year David quits, the Broncos win the Super Bowl, and then he begs for his job back.
And we say, position's been filled.
No, because I'll tell you what, if I'm here for 15 years and then the year I quit is the year we win the Super Bowl, that's a sign, as far as I'm concerned, that it was not meant to be. Yep, I'm good. Team. I'm out. Maybe we'll win 3 more after that. Who knows?
Joey, it's not orange soda. It's not beer. I am out of beer, which sucks.
Well, what?
How are you out of beer?
And what is it then?
You're an adult.
Is it an Arizona iced tea?
It's caffeine water.
Caffeine water. Oh God,
we
are on the Bourbon Broncos and No BS Joe.
That's why I'm hiding it.
Here's the No BS take. Kevin's having an energy drink. Jared. There's a reason that Team Puffball did not have a place for Kevin on it in the long term. There was no long-term future for Kevin on Team Puffball, and it's like this.
I am questioning your adult decisions.
The one night
I
don't have beer in here, you guys are giving me shit for it. Okay.
How does a man go without having just like at least a couple? Like, take the one that the dude brought over from that one barbecue that they left in your fridge. Like, what?
Right.
How do you not have any of those?
I think we need to pull up Joey's comment here, because Joey, you're an incredible viewer, and you're another one of those viewers that keeps us honest with some truly just wacky takes sometimes, and we love you for it. But in this particular case, the most recent one, if you hadn't said this, we wouldn't have noticed at all. That there wasn't.
Yeah, so I appreciate it, Joey. Thanks.
So you called
top
that
fan
right
there,
Joey.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top fan.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you bringing to light his lack of being an adult.
Really well done. Really well done.
There's not. I swear. Next time, I'll make it up to you guys. Next time, I'll do shots during the show.
Well, let's do some closing thoughts, and let's roll out and go.
You know what? Here's the thing. Closing thoughts. Next week's show, I will do a shot on the show for every touchdown that the Broncos score.
I swear. Now, my new closing take is I hope that the Broncos put up 35.
I mean that's obviously the hope every week, but there's definitely a little bit of extra sauce on that one this week.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's on there too. That's like a legal binding verbal agreement.
It is. I will go back to this after the game. You know that. I'll cut this out, and I'm
not backing out on that.
A lot of people taking the seats from this game.
Yeah. If they score 7 touchdowns, I will do 7 shots, and I will be sick, and it'll be worth it.
All right.
Man.
I'm excited. All right, guys. Any final thoughts other than Kevin's potential alcohol poisoning this week? What do we got?
I'll go ahead and I'll lead this off, because I feel like I was very negative this show, and I want to apologize to the viewers. I want to apologize to you guys, and I want to say I'm not losing faith in the Broncos. I'm losing faith in myself, like, and my ability to watch the Broncos being like with the orange goggles. Like, I can no longer watch these Broncos without watching every mistake that we make. However, I do have a lot of faith that the Broncos can do the things that they need to do to be able to be a competitive team in this league. And you see the athletes, you see them coming together. Once they come together as a team and they start realizing what the goal is, then everything is going to start clicking and we're going to start getting things done. But until then, I'm kind of just going to keep watching to see if certain mistakes are being made. I like these Broncos. I love our Broncos. I love this team, and I think that we're going to get there. And it's taking a really long time, and it's getting frustrating. But I'm still on the high horse. I'm still here for it, and I think that we have a long road ahead of us.
I like it. Completely agreed, Jeff. Completely agreed. And Joey, thanks for tuning in. David, what you got, man?
Yeah, we're not dead inside yet, guys. We're at week 5, well, week 6. But we're 5 weeks into this thing. We just started, guys. And it's going to be a longer road than we wanted it to be, but the end of that road could still be completely different. And we just, there's no reason to believe that it won't be until we know,
I know.
You know.
You know.
I know that I don't know.
I think both of you know. And
I don't know.
Well, but I think you know that you don't know. And that's the first step. That's the first step.
Yeah.
So just hold on to that. Yes, Jared. Yes. Do the math. What's the Babblehoos say? What does the Babadook say, Jared?
Blue, red, white, green, yellow, blue, red, white, green, yellow.
There you have it, folks.
You're not colorblind.
I could not have said it any better myself. Kevin, over to you.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Seriously, thanks for tuning in. Check out all of our other content, and appreciate y'all tuning in. That's why we do this, and we're going to keep doing it as long as you keep watching. So, look, don't give up on the guys yet. They're working hard. You can see the frustration in their eyes too. It's easy for us to say they don't care, but you look at them and they do care, they see the potential that they have. They see the talent that they have, and they know that it's not even close to what they're capable of. So it's going to turn around. I think, this time next year, we're not even going to be thinking anything other than like, holy crap, we're winning games. We are winning games and winning really well. So I'm right there with you. It hurts right now, and it's going to hurt until we turn it around. So I just hope it's sooner than later, but that's all I got.
We got to get Jared wearing that Let's Ride gear for a reason. Like we've got to get that on him. We've got to earn that. We've got to have the Broncos earn that for us.
Here's the weird thing, David. Here's the weird thing. Normally, I'm trying to get Jared to take his shirt off, and now I'm trying to get him to put a shirt on.
Agreed.
It's strange.
Agreed. It's odd for everybody.
This is a weird transition for me.
Different
and I'm
dynamic
not sure how to take it.
For sure.
I will say I said it on. It was either the pregame or I think I said it on halftime. I even said like, okay, fine, I'll say it. Like, I think we have a chance the second half, and I said the words. I said the words that everybody's been asking me to say. And after the game, my wife looked at me, and I'm sad, sitting there watching the end of the game, being like, I can't believe we just threw an incomplete on that instead of just going further into overtime. And sad, sitting there, just head down. She looks at me, she goes, "You are never allowed to say 'let's ride' again." And I said, okay. I know who my boss is.
So you don't have to say it, but you can wear the shirt that says it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like after a few games, if we start doing really well and it's like the thing again, and like Russ is cooking and we all do all the things that were said we're going to be done, then yeah, maybe I'll say it. But I think I'm taking a hiatus. I said it once, and I think I'm taking the hiatus.
That's fair. Okay, well, I think that's it, everybody. Hey, we'll check you guys out later with the pregame podcast. Check out David's article when that gets posted. You'll see the link that's on our Facebook and iTunes or Instagram and Twitter, and then it'll be Monday before you know it.
Absolutely.
Yes. So get ready for it, guys. Hey, nothing else to say other than we always say, which is very strong. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know